This will be by far the most difficult and time-consuming sketchbook, yet also my favorite so far, so let's get right into it. The very first thing in order to make this stop binding is of course folding the stops of the pages. And I've decided to make the stop fold here at about 25 millimeters. Well, not even about, precisely 25 millimeters. And I do this just by marking each and every page all the way down and just making sure they line up nicely with my ruler and continuing on from page to page. And this is done for all 30 pages. It takes so long to do, and compared to normal signature folding where a signature of 4 pages can be folded together to ensure the creases line up neatly and everything, here it's each page separately. They're kind of working as their own little miniature signature. It's time consuming, but it's also kind of therapeutic, you know. With all that said and done, like therapeutic, I really were just excited to try and sew this book together, because just making sure the lines here were kneading up, I mean, it took a while, not because it's difficult, but because I wanted to make sure I did it correctly. And you will see that I even then made some dumb mistakes, but it's just drawing a line after line. And the reason for the line and not just the marks is just so it's easier once I actually have to fold, because then I have a line all the way down to put the crease along. You could argue it's probably not necessary, because I will be using the ruler again when folding, which we will see right about now. So I used the ruler to just hold the paper down while I would grab the edge of the little stop that we're going to be folding up, and I am struggling. There we go. And then I'm just gonna crease it in and then use my bone folding tool to just slide down along here, creating the initial crease. As you can see, it did get a little up crease, but it's not meant to be perfect here. It's just meant to make a mark that's a crease that's easy to bend in. And there we go. And yep, that's literally it. And as I'm doing all of these, I'm just making sure the crease is nice and tight. I am only just thinking of how long it's going to take to sew, because you're going to be sewing this book twice. But yeah, the entire process was just making sure I got it lined up, and this time I kept my fingers under so it's a little easier holding it so it won't fall down, and marking the crease. And it's just rinse and repeat. And after this, I'm gonna put the pages in my book press just to flatten them down a little. And that makes a huge difference, because whatever I try to do here, it does not work. What makes a stop binding even more unique is this, I don't know what it's called, but harmonica piece that we're gonna be folding here. And I initially were like, oh, I'm gonna be very precise. I'm gonna make it 14 millimeters all along. And looking back, I should have stuck to it, but I thought it's not that important. We can make do without. And really, I think it would have looked neater if I were more precise and careful. But yeah, there's so many pages, I had to use more than one sheet. And I originally wanted to only use one sheet of paper for it, but it would have been so small in the bends. So I decided to go multiple and then just glue them together. And thank God for that. It looks so much better in the end. But yeah, really this is what makes stop binding so unique, is we have these double hinge mechanism. And that allows the book to open even flatter and for the pages to take up more space. So when painting, because I'm using watercolor paint for this sketchbook, 300 grams per square meter, it allows for the pages to thicken from the paint. And it allows for adding in between the sheets if you want like parchment paper or something to protect them. You can do that without it ruining the sketchbook, and that's also why it like kind of folds oddly down at the end. You see how it's slanted, but really I think it's so cool, and I think this type of sketchbook is so awesome, and I'm gonna make so many more of them. This is just a prototype for what's to come, so don't you worry. We're adding in between. Next up is marking the paper, the sheets themselves for being sewn onto the harmonica structure. And for this I went with a 20mm gap between the edges and the sewing part, and that is just to make sure that the paper won't get torn when being used or sewn, and also to give lots of space for it to give and pull when it comes to being used, like when painting it, because the paper are of course gonna move around, and it is of course gonna fold a little. I probably should have gone more towards the like 15 instead of 20mm, but I think that's fine. Next up I did the 2 center holes where we're gonna have our sewing bands going through, and really they're just spaced evenly distant from the 2 outer holes, and that's just it. And of course these holes are gonna be marked along on the harmonica too. I'm not gonna be showing that, but of course we're gonna have matching holes, and then we're gonna be sewing all of these bases together right about now. When it came to sewing the book together, I honestly didn't know if it was better to go with sewing the pages onto the harmonica structure first, or sewing the harmonica structure with the like sewing bands on first. So I just went with sewing this sheets together, and I think that's the smart option, but I honestly couldn't tell you. It is tedious, it takes time, and it's a lot of measuring out small pieces of string. And I originally had planned to go with one color, and that was a pinkish purple, and I thought I had enough of it, but apparently I didn't. So I was like, alright, we're 10 pages in out of 30, let's make 10 more in this blue color and 10 more in red, I think it ended up being. And it looks really nice, do not get me wrong, it looks so good, but it's a process to do it like that. It's a lot of work, it takes a lot of time, because you have to do a proper binding, and I went back and forth to make sure it could hold, and then you have to tie the knot, and then you have, like, it just gets thicker and thicker, and it gets more and more unhandy the further you get. But don't get me wrong, I love it, but I can tell you, I miss the sewing frame. The sewing frame is so nice to use when sewing together all this stuff. I am not looking like thinking, oh, it wasn't that important of a thing to make. No, the sewing frame was so nice to get. Now, one of the things, I don't know if how clearly it can be seen, but one of the mistakes I made, which really annoyed me, was at the somewhere, I think halfway or something, somewhere between third and like halfway through, I switched the direction of the stops, and that really irks me the wrong way. Not because you really notice it, but you kind of do once you've seen it. So I wish I had been more aware of that, because it would have looked so much better if the stops always were turned the right direction. Not that there's a wrong or right, but same direction. I guess that's a better way of saying it. Yeah, but anyways, next step, of course, is sewing on the sewing bands, and also just sewing the harmonica together. This is what I meant when I said I wasn't quite sure if sewing the stops onto, or the pages onto the harmonica, or sewing the harmonica would be best first, because here I have to sew I have to sew the bands on while every page is already on it from the start, where normally you would add the pages or signatures as you go along at the top. Now we're adding them already from the start, so it's a little but I still think overall what I did was the right way, or at least for me what felt the best way. And look at how big that book is. That is huge. Like, it's so large, I don't even know what to say. I never made such a thick sketchbook before, and it looks really, really good on my sewing frame. And I cannot wait to show you the glam shots again. But here I'm just doing a simple classic bind, using some jute yarn or something like that, as holding the pages together. It's just back and forth. it's really simple. It doesn't need to be more because we're not looking at some cool stuff. We're not looking at some we're not gonna be seeing these, so it's fine. And I just need something to hold on to the boards. Speaking of boards, let's get to them. For the backing boards, I just gone with some 2mm. It is called bookbinding boards, but it's like a cardboard, basically a thick, dense cardboard. And I just cut it into I cut 2 pieces in the size of a bit larger than the pages, not a lot, but just enough. Well, at least in width. In length, I cut it the correct length because we're gonna just scoot them forward a little to create some natural hinges. And then the next thing is just poking some holes in them to the same places as where the thread that holding the pages together goes. Not the thread, like the things on the spine. I don't remember their name right now, but yeah, basically those. And then we're gonna untangle them so we can get them spread out over a white surface. And then here comes my biggest weakness in bookbinding. I tend to use too much glue, and that means everything gets a little warped. And it's something I have to get better at, it's something I have to work on, but I don't feel confident if I don't use a lot of glue. And it's really annoying because it doesn't need it. But yeah, we just add in glue, thread, put it thin, add some parchment paper to ensure that the glue does not get on the actual pages. And then from there on we put them in the book press. And this was also something I shouldn't have done because my book press is not big enough. I should instead just have put some heavy books on top, and that would have been fine. So that's also my mistake, and I'm gonna make that mistake again, but because I am dumb and didn't think. So yeah, that's 2 lessons within one thing we should have learned. But well, so far we're up to 3 lessons in total. The harmonica should be more precise in bending. The boards, use less glue when the book is so large. Do not use your book press if you don't have a press that's big enough. So yeah, so far 3 things to improve on, but I'm still so excited with the result, and I'm still happy with, even at this point in the process, how it looks. But the next thing we're gonna be looking at is leather. For the cover, I wanted to challenge myself quite a bit and get better at carving and just make engraving basically in leather. It's called carving, but it is, engraving. So Tandy Leather on YouTube has this tutorial demo swivel knives practicing with a lion, and I thought, why not try? And so I sharpened my swivel knife. Big mistake when you're doing a project to just sharpen it right away when you've never done that before. So it was way sharper and cut way deeper than I was expecting. But I guess that's the 4th lesson. And then I honestly just tried, and I am so excited with the result. It was a whole lot of fun. That was probably the most fun I've had on this entire project. And I have been complaining quite a bit about the sewing, but I had a lot of fun with it. I really found it meditative and enjoyable. But the carving here, that's where I really enjoyed. And it looks so good, and it's not perfect. I have so many mistakes, but I'm so proud of how it looked. And then just doing a simple stamping, just highlighting the edge all around, making sure that each line kind of flows the same way with the shading so that it just looks good. And I promise you, when we dye this, it's gonna look so good. It's gonna have so many details. I am so excited. Right after I did this, I just ran out to show my girlfriend who was reading in the living room, and instantly the slight annoyance of me hammering away disappeared because she was so excited too, because she's the one who's going to be using this sketchbook and she thinks it looks so good. And now I'm saying she was annoyed. She honestly wasn't. She never is. She's amazing. But I know I'm annoying because I would find me annoying. I do find me annoying, so we'll stick to that story. But yeah, I'm so excited, so happy, so satisfied, and I can't wait to challenge myself more and start doing more carving of this style. But without further, let's dye this lion up so it really looks good. For dyeing this cover, I picked a completely simple tan color, and just look at it. The lion looks so good, it stands out so proudly, and it looks beautiful. I love it. I love the like subtle shading around the lines, and yeah, I can glaze my own work forever. I am so fucking proud of this. I mean, this is incredible. But we're not done yet. We're far from done, because we still have to attach everything together, and then we have to look at the final result. So let's get on with it. When it comes to using glue, as I stated earlier, I tend to use way too much. But another quirk of when I do anything with glue is I'm not a fan of using brushes. I'm a fan of using my fingers. I think, as you could see when we attached the board actually, I think it gives me more control. It's easier for me to spread it out. And I guess that's also why I use too much, because I used the amount I would have used if I was just using my my brushes. So I guess that's a place we have to consider. Now the thing is, this is where I talked about earlier with the book press thing. I attached the leather, it's all nice and perfect. I should have attached first one side, then the other, and like let them dry in between, because my book press is not big enough, so it does bulge multiple places on both the front and the back. And I think it would have been better if I had just done like let them rest and let the weight of the sketchbook itself keep it down, maybe add a heavy book or so. But I still think it turns out great, and we're missing folding it in, and then we're missing to add in the end sheets. I'm not gonna show you the folding in all 4 sides. Just like I haven't shown you at all me skiving the leather or me cutting the corner, because it's not that interesting. But I'm gonna show you the process I went with on this one, or it's kind of the usual process, but it's a little different. So instead of a piece of leather, I had some felt I ended up using, and I'm just folding in the short side. And when it came to the long side, I was struggling, and I found that it was, and you know, looking up on YouTube and all that, I could have told myself that it was so much easier once I just took the book and raised it up. It got it so much easier to do the spine piece where there's no cardboard, and it just ended up looking so much nicer. And then I could lay it back down and I could do the rest, and then I could close it basically, and the book just like had to dry up, and then we were basically done. And it really was a life changer, a game changer for me to stand the book up. And I don't know why I haven't thought of doing that in all time. I am definitely gonna do that instead of the struggle I had in doing it all laying down. So yeah. Now quickly before we move on, I forgot to record the end sheet part, which is just me taking some marble paper I've made and cutting it into size and gluing it up. So instead, we're now just going directly to the glam shots, and I hope you enjoyed, because I'm not gonna say anything during them. But thank you so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me. This book and video was a blast to make. I had so much more fun, and we're gonna be doing more stop binding. I have some canvas page ideas we're gonna be doing, and yeah, just leave a like, comment and subscribe, and enjoy the final.